Hey, what's up, Vox and Hops heads? I'm Matt, the vocalist of Cryptopsy, and you're listening to my podcast, Vox and Hops, where I hang out with fellow musicians, and we talk about their lives, their music, and most importantly, craft beers. Just came back from a crazy, crazy weekend at Heavy Montreal. It was unbelievable. I am completely overwhelmed with the amount of interviews that I got accomplished this past weekend. I have a total of 18 interviews, which I conducted over 3 days. It was just totally, totally unbelievable. So much fun. Such a great festival. Huge shout out and a huge thank you to all the people that helped make this possible. Huge shout out to JF Michaud, a Vox and Hops alumni, to Nick Farkas, a Vox and Hops alumni, to Lisa Lee, to my producer, Jessica Buckingham, to Dan Lima for delivering me some craft beers to share with my guests, and to Marie-Mado Langlois from Brasseur de Montreal for hooking me up with some great products to share with all my guests. They absolutely, sincerely, really appreciated it. Cheers to you all. Thank you so much. I had such a great experience at Heavy Montreal. I can't wait to go back and to do it all over again. Today on the podcast, I am with Dirk Schlachter, the bassist of Gamma Ray. Check it out. Here it is, Vox and Hops, episode number 44.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Today I'm with Dirk Schlachter.
Hey, everybody.
Was that close?
That was pretty good. Yeah.
And you're from Gamma Ray. We are at Heavy Montreal.
Yeah.
And we're about to drink a beer together.
Yeah.
So cheers,
okay.
brother.
Well.
This is Granville Island Brewing West Coast IPA. It was given to me by the brewery to share with my friends and my guests on the podcast. So thank you so much for coming all the way.
Yeah.
From Artist World.
It was a hard way to find this, but finally I made it. Yeah.
It's a big site.
Yeah, it's a real big site. I was
site.
surprised when I saw it. We had a planning like to go to the stage and backstage and again. And I went to the stage and stayed there because it was too difficult to get too long to get way back to the artist area and back. So I stayed at the stage.
You have to take these little golf carts.
Yeah, I didn't take them so far. I had just one trip with this VIP car right now.
The VIP black
to
Suburban.
Bring me here on time for this interview.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Let's start off simple. Let's talk about you in your youth. What was the soundtrack to your youth? You growing up in your house, what music was playing?
When I was a kid?
Yeah.
Or when I was like a teenager?
No, you as a kid. I want to know what your parents listened to.
Yeah, the parents. Well, actually, the first album that really caught my attraction was Abraxas by Carlos Santana.
Really?
Yeah, I listened to that album. And at the age of 6, I think, I found this album. The cover was interesting. I mean, I was 6 years old, so I didn't know what the big boobs on that album meant and everything. But it looked really interesting. I don't know why.
Is that the one with the lion?
That's with the black lady laying naked within the fruits and all that.
Yes, of course. That's very interesting to a 6-year-old boy.
And colorful. It was so colorful. And this black lady with the bare boobs there. It somehow caught my interest. I don't know how at 6 years. So I listened to that album really 1,000 times, I think. You know?
Did you grow up from a family of musicians?
My father played clarinet.
Nice.
And he was into like all traditional jazz music, you know. And that. And my mom sent like my brother and me. She sent us to a music school, to a local music school from the town. You know, it was supported from the town. We went there at the age of 8 and 9, learning glockenspiel and learning how to read music. Then I played 2 years the flute, the soprano flute, from like written music, and then I started playing classical guitar. And to the bass, I came very late to the bass. I was working in a music store, and there were the basses, and then there were the time of I was listening to Stanley Clarke, and then was Level 42 marking, so I was interested in this slap.
Yes, of course. Yes.
So I started slapping the bass, actually, just this slapping. And I had kind of a talent I was listening to stuff, and I knew how to do it.
You could mimic it just by...
I could not do it. I need to practice this. But I just by listening, I had an idea how he does it.
Interesting.
So,
it's all before YouTube, before all the videos, so you had to have this intuition.
Later I tried to play all that shit, level 42, and then I saw level 42 in the Rock Palast. Rock Palast, this was a famous program.
Of course, yes. Yeah.
In Germany, and then I saw how he did it.
And how accurate were you?
I was pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Really. I couldn't explain to me some tricks. He had some triplet stick tricks.
Yes, the popping, the pinky popping.
I was just listening to that and saying, what the fuck? How is this guy doing that? And then I saw it finally, and I knew it was this hammer on with the left hand.
Yeah.
Which made another sound like a hit from the thumb. So, and then I said, this buzzer, that's the way. Okay. That was when I started playing the bass with 19. And then somehow things happened by circumstances. A singer was from a band was looking for a bass player. He was in this music store. He saw me playing bass in the corner. And he liked the stuff, and he just asked me if I could take an audition and come and play, and so I was a bass player suddenly.
But if you weren't there that day, you decided not to go to that music store that day and sit in that corner and play the bass.
Well, I was working in that music store,
okay.
I was there anyways, and but the circumstance that this guy from this town, and this music store was in a pretty small town, that he just came there was a real circumstance. So, like many things in my life, you can't like when how I came to Gamma Ray. I met Kai Hansen '89 in compact course at the university in Hamburg. This kind of popular music compact course that they did this in the vacations of the normal university. So it was 2 times 2 weeks, and they choose. Out of 300 musicians all over Germany, they choose 60 for participating in this compact course. I was already proud to be in this.
Of course, yeah.
And Kai Hansen was there, looking for new influences, new musicians, just right after he left Helloween.
It's funny how life works.
Yeah, and that was really, that was the point, like the right moment, the right place.
I feel that's my life too. The same thing. Same thing with my career.
And starting my bass career was the same thing somehow,
And then hard work. Once you're there, you have to hustle and push to the end. Yeah. Take a sip. You are from Germany.
I'm from Germany, but I live now since 4 years. I live in Mexico.
Do you?
I moved to Mexico. It was too cold. I'm getting older, and I don't like the cold anymore.
What made that transition happen?
Well, my wife is Mexican.
Beautiful, okay.
And we met in Hamburg, and we lived together in Hamburg. We got married in Hamburg. And, 2014, actually 2012 already, we were looking for something else. She, with her career, she couldn't go on in Hamburg. It was difficult, so and she wanted to study something, and finally we ended up visiting Mexico, and we made a spontaneous decision. Well, we looked around, and she had some friends living in Cancun. She's from Mexico City, and so we stayed there 2014 looking, and then there was this offer for a small house at a real nice price, a new house
compared to Germany.
Absolutely. You can buy a garage in Hamburg for this money, So, and it was not built yet, but so we made the contract, and 1 year later we moved there.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And she started to study there at the university and working at the German consulate. And because
she speaks German was my next question.
Yeah. And I did first in the first year. We still had a lot of jobs with Gamma Ray, a lot of shows.
Tours and
And so the first year I was not very much time there, but then even more. And then came the break with Helloween.
That's correct. Yeah, because they did the reunion tour.
And I didn't knew this was going to happen when we moved there, So actually it was pretty good because all the money I saved. You know, as a musician, when you do this like all your life, you get used to having like
a certain amount
reserve,
of money. Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
because always you make money on a tour, you get some money from the record company, but then you have some month with
where
no
you have
income.
nothing coming in.
And
yeah.
so you're used to that. And actually you start living by the things you have done up to 2 years before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they pay off
The future, yeah, those
the
little
next year. And,
quiet moments in between tours.
So I could make it over this time with in Mexico the living is a little bit cheaper, so I
Absolutely,
could make it.
yeah.
I started doing some jobs there as well in
Really?
Cancun. Yeah.
Really?
I worked as a nice side job, I must really say, as a tourist guide for German tourists on a small island, a national park, a real ecological paradise.
That's awesome.
It's a natural park, the island of Contoy. And at the coral reef, I went snorkeling with them, explaining them the corals.
Beautiful. That sounds beautiful.
And it's not too many people, and it's not like this party trips, whatever. I could not do this.
I don't like that. I'm over that. Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're back with Gamma Ray, and just for some festivals. We'll see what's going on. Next year is actually 30 years
Unbelievable.
Gamma Ray live on stage. The first production of Heading for Tomorrow was 89, yeah.
Congratulations.
And next year is 30 years, so we need to celebrate this.
I agree.
And I just found out that, like, Helloween, they will do an album now with Kai and with Kiske together, like the lineup they had on the
reunion tour.
The Pumpkins United tour.
That's right, yeah.
So they will do this album whenever. They're working on it right now. I don't know exactly.
Is that a moment that you have concern, like when you heard that they were going to do the reunion thing, that they would take back full force and then Gamma Ray would go on the back burner?
Yeah, that was, of course, we knew it, but actually we thought we would do an album with Gamma Ray this year,
mm-hmm.
you know. And when we heard that Kai has only, he told us he can only do some festivals with us, no more. Well, he's married again. He became father again in January, so he has a small kid, and he doesn't want to be like
away all the time. I understand that. I got little kids
all the time in studio or on
understandable
stage.
Yeah.
So he said he can only do some festivals, and then we said, well, what's going to happen with Gamma Ray then? So now it's like maybe we have the chance, because Helloween will start after next summer touring, so we can do something maybe in January or February. It's like a small EP, like presenting this quick meeting up in the studio, like everybody comes with an idea, and we will make a recording setup like Deep Purple.
Yeah,
Old times, just with two guitars, not with the keyboards. But maybe we will even invite the keyboard player we're working for this session, and just to work on the ideas, but record immediately, like in the old days, everything together.
Off the floor, yeah.
Then you can overdub it and do the choirs and all that shit.
Of course.
But like maybe we do this, just an EP, special package, whatever. The record company will not like the idea of an EP, because they don't make money with EPs.
They don't like EP. I know they don't. Being from a band that just released 2 EPs
they
back
want
to back.
to have LPs or just a single, which
long enough to be on a vinyl, that's for sure.
So, and then doing like festivals. We're not doing a nightliner tour. We have done this with 25 years of Gamma Ray in Europe. And I don't think we should do that again, but do from June till the end of
all
August,
the festivals.
Celebrate the 30 years.
All the festivals. Headline whacking.
Yeah, maybe no headline. I don't know. Maybe we get a good position for this reason, because we helped out Wacken in the early years when the Wacken Festival was just small.
In the building stages.
There was a time they were fighting to survive.
Absolutely. And
we played at that time, so the guy still knows us and we have a good relationship, so maybe he will give us a good slot for this event.
30 years of Gamma Ray. If you could travel back in time and be on one tour, what tour would that be?
Well, what tour from the Gamma Ray tours?
Yeah.
Well, there's, let's say, really early, the first tour I really felt like, oh, this is rock and roll and I'm good, was the second tour, because I was playing guitar, you know, and when on the first tour I was really, let's say, nervous, and I concentrated not to play any wrong notes on the guitar, which was, I was still learning to play this metal style on the guitar, and so I was not like that
comfortable,
comfortable. Yeah, but on the second tour, I felt I could move, I could slam that guitar and wave around and all this stuff.
And actually just look out really and enjoy the crowd. Yeah.
And I felt really the fun of playing guitar in this music. And then, well, it changed, but that was the second tour. It felt really good. And then when I came back to the bass, actually the first tour directly with playing with Daniel Zimmerman when he joined the band, that was a blast. Of course, this drummer is really a machine and so powerful, and we're still good friends actually.
It's Daniel very important for a bassist and drummer to be connected.
Yeah, we were like, poof, it was pretty.
Get that rhythm section locked in, yeah.
Especially, in the last years, because before he left. The whole band was, well, that is another story.
Absolutely, I understand, yeah.
But we were really connected. We had a good time, and we had always was fun recording with him. I recorded his drums, and he was sitting aside when I recorded my bass. You know, he was like producing me, let's say.
You're like a duo. That's amazing,
yeah, because I used to be the main engineer in the studio for the camera recordings, and so when it's about bass recordings, Daniel sat there and said, "Yeah, this was good. That was on my drum." You know?
Yeah, it's
and when
tight.
he said, I was like making, I had a good feeling, but I don't know if it was really on. He said, no, it was not on my drum. And then I had to play it again.
You trust him, yeah.
And sometimes it was like, I'm not really satisfied, you know. And when you record yourself and there's nobody sitting
it's
beside,
hard, yeah.
You get your level up and up. You get like, you don't see the trees in the forest anymore. You don't know if you're good or wrong. You try. You
judging yourself way too harshly.
You play 10 times
when you don't have to actually.
And the second time was already good.
Absolutely, I understand.
And Daniel was on. This was on, and woof.
Move on.
That's good.
Next.
So we had a good time working with this guy, and so the first years, and actually, was pretty improving, progressing. So that was a good time as well. But actually, if you ask me. Look back in time, whatever. Actually, the only thing when I see how he's producing and working and the sound of the albums today, I would love to be like 50 years earlier, something like that.
More natural.
Yeah.
Less 60s
digital. Recorded, yes. To play, being able to play what I can play today, at that time, I would be a bass hero. Easily. Now today, if you look on YouTube, all these crazy motherfuckers,
these kids are crazy, yeah.
What they do on the bass, I mean, playing bass in a heavy metal band is something different, but all this stuff they do, it's amazing, you know, but I mean, technically, yeah.
Derek, so happy that you came, found me here, came to drink a beer with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I want you to enjoy the rest of Heavy Montreal.
Yeah, I need to. Well, they were already waiting for me to get back, and I will have to leave the hotel at 5:15
a.m.
Yes.
Oh, it's one of those.
Getting to it's the only flight directly to Cancun, and
it's at 8:30.
So I have to take this.
Take a direct. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
Cheers. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. So glad that I had a chance to sit down with Derek. Such a cool dude. So much history, so many stories. I could have gone on for a lot longer, but as he mentioned, he actually had a car waiting for him throughout the entire interview so that he can go to the airport to go back home to Mexico. These crazy one-off gigs as a musician is always a lot more work than everyone thinks it is. It's extremely tiring, so I appreciate Derek taking the time to come and sit down with me. I had such a great time at Heavy Montreal, as I mentioned. There are many, many more interviews to come. So I hope that you guys have a great week, a great weekend, and remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox and Hops heads.